Okay, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters across the globe and back home in South Sudan, welcome to this episode. So, first of all, let me uh, say Happy Easter, although the world is going through a very difficult time of COVID 19. So, today I would like to share with you some few thought about uh, the best method that our country, South Sudan, could fight this pandemic disease. So, without, I just want you to share so that we can uh, be able to get access to many people because uh, your friend and the friend of your friend they could be able to have an access to. So, without wasting much time, let us just go for it. So basically today, what I would like to share with you is the advantage of something called aggressive testing method, or and then we compare it with something that is known also as a conservative testing approach. So this is an experience that so many countries uh, they adopt, and based on the method that they use they came out with some outcome that was totally different. And that's why actually we need to study the experience of the other countries so that we can be able to prepare ourselves back home there, and our officials, their high level delegation of task force could learn also from the experience of the other country. So basically, in this presentation, I will just give you a lot of statistics. There is so many statistics here. So the first thing that we need to look at it is the global picture, how the world is affected by this COVID-19 virus. So up to now, up to yesterday, because this number they keep changing from time to time, but these statistics were accurate up to yesterday night. So basically, right now, the world we have something like 1.5 million people infected with COVID-19, and out of that number, we have something like over 350,000 people they recover from the virus. And then we have a death toll of something around more than 94,000 people die actually because of this COVID-19. So when we look into this statistic in the global, in the whole world, we see that there is a recovery case. 79% of people they were recover from this COVID-19. So they defeat COVID-19. Unfortunately, we have a death toll that is more than 21%. So that is very high. That is the global picture that we have. So when we take, there is something that they call it active cases in the world. So basically, the recovery and the death toll, when they take them out from the overall cases, they come to some that you know as an active cases. So basically, the active cases in the world up to now is over 1 million cases. That is 96%. And those in serious critical cases, there are over 48,000 people, and these who are in serious critical cases. These are the people who need uh, ICU. These are the people who need ventilators. So please keep in your mind that, so from all the cases that you will have in the country, we are expecting that 4 to 5% of the cases they will need an ICU. They will need ventilators, and therefore the issue of ventilator is very important in term, and this would help us to answer the question whether the evacuation or transferring those people who need critical care to neighboring country, is it a good idea when we come to that one. So basically you put in your mind that we have 4% of cases that they need an ICU and they need ventilator. And unfortunately, in our country, we don't have those facilities, and our government is trying to uh, is planning to transfer those people outside according to their plan. So we will come and evaluate it. So I just want to give you a heads up. So the other thing also that we need to look is the age of COVID-19. This is a global death rate. So basically, this actually the fatality of the cases is different from age to age, and that also is it can give us some clue how we can be able to plan based on our demography back home. I hope that the numbers is clear. So basically, I would like to start from the bottom of this column. So if you see here at the right column, we have the age range, and then here we have the percentage, the death rate told by of all cases. So basically, if we start from the beginning, those people who their age range from 0 to 9, so basically there is no fatality reported in the whole world. So up to now, we don't know whether because there is nobody was affected within that category, or because they managed to fight the virus, or their body is able to fight the virus vigorously. Up to now, there is no information about that one. But put in mind that the children from 0 to 9 years, they have not reported any fatality cases. There is no any deaths reported. Also, if you go up to the column from 10 to 19, and you go all the way up to 30 to 39, these people, they have the same death rate. So 0.2% from when you move from 10 years up to 39 years, all of them, there is no change. So if you are within that category, so the death rate is like around 0.2%. So, but when you move from 39 to 49, you see the risk double. So because actually below that one is was 0.2, and then when we move to those who are 40 to 49 age, we get that the death rate actually double, is become 0.4%. When you move also from 49 up to 50, you will get also the death rate triple, because we have 1.3%. You move also up to 60 to 69, you see also it is triple. So the risk is tripling. When you move also up to 72, from 70 to 79, you will see also the risk is becoming 8%. So you see that the risk of death from this virus increase with an increasing age. So basically, at the bottom there, children actually they are not up to now, according to the information that we have, there is no there is no case fatality. And as you move from 40, you see there is a doubling and trebling and three-time increase of the risk. So there is increase with age, and this is something that you need to consider also when you plan for your country. So if we have the statistic in South Sudan, we could be able to identify the people who are at high risk of dying from this COVID-19. So basically, when you see the death rate is too high, of from 50 and above, actually. And these are the people that we need, to focus so much, because what I've observed, we are just giving a blanket, in South Sudan. We are just giving blanket, uh, a blanket advice, and we are not emphasize those people who are at high risk also, so that they can take more precautionary measures. And that why it is very important for us going to look into these numbers. So we need to protect our seniors, our elders, because they are at high risk. If they caught the virus, the the possibility for them to die is likely going to be very high. So also there is a disparity in terms of the sex and gender. So when you look also, the the death rate in terms of the confirmed cases, maybe for male, is 4.7%. And then if you are talking about the all cases, is 2.8, compared to female, which is the death rate also in the confirmed case is 2.8. But when we come to the deaths in overall, you see that the female, they have 1.7%. So basically, you see also, if you are a male and you are infected with COVID-19, there is a high possibility that, the high possibility, the risk is too high going for male genders. So the other factor also that was very important in terms of planning also for the country is the existing conditions. So basically, what they do, they try, from the Chinese study, they came up with, by stratifying the existing conditions. So these existing conditions also play an important role and increase the risk. So the risk is too high for those people who have cardiovascular diseases. So if you have any cardiovascular diseases, the risk of dying from COVID-19 is too high, around 10.5%. And those who have diabetic also, they are the second, they have a high risk. Those who have chronic respiratory disease also, they have, uh, they have also around 6.3 risk. Those who have hypertension also, and cancer also. So the pre-existing condition also play an important role in terms of COVID-19. And you can see these people also, these are the people we need, to focus on them, because they have a high risk of dying of COVID-19. So if we can send a message to these, individual in these categories, also the message would be fruitful, and they will be able to take more, precaution in terms of the risk of dying from COVID-19. So that was just a glimpse about the importance of, the global picture of COVID-19. And these statistics, actually, we could benefit from it, because it helped those in the Ministry of Health, so that they can plan well, and they look at those statistics, and they see how they can be able to benefit from those informations. So the main things that we are the main thing that we are having here is the test. So as I told you from the beginning, we have two-way or two approach of testing. So we have what I call, actually, because there is no, I try to identify what these countries are doing and what other countries are doing. And then I put just tentatively, because this definition is not agreeable, but it's just a situation. So there is something that I call conservative testing approach. And this one is being adopted here in the US. So what do we mean? What is the meaning of conservative testing? So the conservative testing, it means that is a testing approach that give a prioritize a test of COVID-19 to an individual group that are high risk. So basically, like the what approach that we are using here in the US is that we don't test everybody. They don't test everybody. So they target only the people who are at those they have a high risk of dying from COVID-19. So basically, if you are an adult, because we have seen the statistics, so this is how they benefit from the statistic from the global picture. So because they know as we go through that, the risk of dying from COVID-19 increase with age, and therefore they focus on adult. So if you are an adult and then with underlying medical condition that we just talked about, like the cardiovascular, like the respiratory, diabetic, hypertension, these are the people, and they develop symptoms, these are the people that they test them for COVID-19. So if you are, if your age is above 65 years and older, these are the people that they give them the priority for testing. And then the people who have asthma or HIV, the immunocompromised group, these are the people also that they give them the priority to do the test for COVID-19. And then there is another category, which is B, is anybody of any age who have developed some maybe a breathing difficulties, and they have persistent chest pain. There is a confusion, and they develop some kind of sign of cyanosis, like the bluish lips or face. These are the people that they're targeting. So basically, if I have a symptom, a mild symptom or a moderate symptom, and I don't have any underlying condition, I'm not feeding into the age requirement. they the only thing that they tell me is say stay at home and don't go out for 14 days, and there is no test that is being done to them. And the problem of this method is that people become reluctant, because actually when you are not tested, when when you are not tested, you will see that people would assume that they don't have COVID-19, and therefore they will uh, become reluctant, not following the guideline and a precaution that put in place. And that is how the spread of the virus continue within the community without the knowledge of the authority within the country. So basically, this is what I call the conservative model that is being used by the US here. And all of you, you may have been following this one on the news, that the US is being hit so much, and we are coming to the statistic of these of the US. So based on this approach that they did, so this is the statistic. So the US conservative testing outcome was what? So right now we have almost over 457,000 cases in the US, infected confirmed cases in the US. So with this method, the recovery, the cases, those who were infected and they recover from the disease, they are almost approaching 25,000 people, something around 60.5% of cases they recover. But when you look into the death rate is too high. We have lost almost over 16,000 people here in the US. So the death rate is something around 39.5%. So basically, this method, conservative testing method, that is the outcome. When you target only the people who have severe diseases, and then you allow you leave those who have mild and moderate symptoms within the community spreading the infection without knowledge. And most of the people who will come to the hospitals, these are the people who are at a terminal stage, and therefore, for you going to save them actually is going to be very difficult. So that was basically about the US, which adopted what I call conservative testing approach. And now let us see the other nation who adopted a different approach. So we have this one, I call it aggressive testing approach, and this one was adopted by the South Korean. So is the test approach that target every individual, whether you are at high risk, whether you have any underlying medical conditions, or you have going to pre-existing or whatever, and all those things, it doesn't matter. As long as you have the sign and symptom of COVID-19, you are eligible going to be tested. And this is what I call aggressive testing. So what basically they do, if you have a symptoms, whether it regardless of being mild or moderate or severe, you are going to be tested. So, and when they test these people, they try to identify who has the disease and who has not disease. And therefore, they track down those who, who have contact with an individual who tested positive. So basically, every individual, regardless of their risk category, they are being tested. And the other thing also, they use app. This app in your phone, they track you. If tested positive, they track you. And if you come into any contact with any other person, they track those people through using the app. And they have something like a police detective. The police is following that one. So, for example, an individual A is have a contact of somebody who tested positive today, and they have a contact like 5 days with somebody. They track those people and they go and get them and test them. So this is a very aggressive and is a robust method. And actually, so basically everybody has to be tested. And when tested, they isolate them, self quarantine, and therefore this is how they minimize the the outbreak completely. So, for example, you see that South Korea is very close to China. But when you look, let us look into the outcome. What was the outcome of their approach? So basically, the outcome of this approach is like this. So we have one of the cases that South Korea have. They have 10,000, over 10,000 cases. And when you look into the recovery, the case that recovered, they have over almost 7,000 cases they recovered from the disease, and they have one of the case recovery over 97.25%. So you see, those who recover, they are 97%, more than 97% they recover from the diseases. And you look at the days, they have 2 or 4 days. So something around less than 3% death rate compared to the US, which have 39%. So basically, when you look into the two countries with a different approach, and then you look also at the same time, South Korea in terms of prosperity is a prosperous nation, is a well-developed nation like the US, but why there is a difference? Why the recovery rate is too high here in South Korea and it's not the same at the US? And we know US is the leading country. The only different things between the US and South Korea, it is the approach that they use. Somebody decide going to use aggressive method of testing. Another one going to use the conservative approach. Sorry, my sound is cracking. So this here, for the picture to be very clear to you, I just want you to look at the comparison. So you know that the US used the conservative testing method, And the South Korea, they use gonna the what do you call it as aggressive method. So look at the recovery case. 97% of the cases they recover in South Korea. But compare when you look to US, only 60%. When you look at the deaths also, the death rate in South Korea is 2.8%, compared to 38.5%. Sorry, 39.5%. There is a typing error here. So basically, it's very obvious you have a high recovery rate, almost different of 30% between US and almost there is a difference of almost 36% in terms of deaths. So actually this method, the aggressive method, is worse, is better than the conservative method that US is applying here, is using here. So also to make it very clear, I have another diagram that is very important, will make things very easier. So you see, this is the South Korea approach. 97% they recover from the disease, and we have a death toll which is something around 2.8%, while the US, the case that is they recover is only 60%, more 6.5%, while the death toll is too high, 38%, and that is very, very, very high. This is an indication that when you apply a country who want going to save the life of their people, there is no reason that they should opt to this method of conservative conservative testing, because actually it has a very devastating result. And this aggressive method actually is the best method that any country should use. So right now we have compared the two methods. We have compared the two methods. So right now, even without me telling you, if you were in the position of decision making, which one would you choose? Of course, I think you would choose the aggressive method. And that why the question here, why aggressive testing should be the best approach in South Sudan? Why why the aggressive method, aggressive testing should be the best approach in South Sudan? It is obvious from the comparison that we did. It prevents spreading of COVID-19 rapidly. You see the cases, although the outbreak started in South Korea before it came to US. So basically, but the South Korea managed to hold on all this time. So because you target everybody, even those who have mild symptoms, you target them and you test them, you isolate them, and that way actually the spread within the community will not be so high. While here we leave some people who have mild and moderate symptom, and even some people without any symptom within the community, they reluctantly spreading the disease, and you see actually the outbreak is sieging so high. It will minimize the number of cases that need critical care, such as ICU. So basically, when you treat people from the beginning, when you isolate them, you manage them before their condition deteriorate, before they need ventilators, before they need to surface for the ICU, you would be able to minimize. And this is the main factor here. So because most of the people who go to ICU, they don't make it, actually, only few. And we will talk about those statistics. So since we don't have an ICU in South Sudan, so we shouldn't allow people to progress to the terminal stage of disease, and then because actually we don't have anything to do for them. We don't have ICU, we don't have the ventilator, we don't have the infrastructure in place. There is no electricity and whatever, and all those things. And even abroad, that you are thinking you would transfer people to a neighboring country, also it would not work actually. You see, so it will reduce also the death toll and improve recovery. We have seen the recovery of 97%, We may not achieve that recovery because actually we don't have the same capacity that the South Korean have, but at least we will be in short somewhere. We will be better somewhere if we choose the approach that the South Korean they adapted. So the recovery rate will be so high, and then the death toll will be a little bit low. It is cost effective than conservative testing method. When you look, because when you allow many people going to come at the terminal stage of disease, so they would be more likely going to need ventilators. They would be more likely need going to be admitted in ICU, and therefore ICU is the most expensive service. Is the most expensive service because this intensive care and and it's not just only the intensive care itself, it costs a lot of money, leave alone when it is COVID-19, where actually there is a high risk of infection, you see. So basically it cost effective, when you do the aggressive, when you compare it to the people that you will lost, the people that will die, and you compare, if you invested a lot of money in aggressive testing, so you will reduce that death. Death actually, if somebody die in an early age, there is opportunity loss that you don't count. And that's why this method is cost effective. It saves life at the end of the day. You have seen that 2.8%, which is the deaths in South Korea. And then we have over 39%, almost 40%, the deaths toll in the US. So basically, why transferring COVID-19 cases is not the cost-effective options? Because actually last I think 2 week or 10 days ago, the high the task force came out with the idea that since they don't have an ICU and they don't have the infrastructure in place, so they were giving permission for the people to be transferred to Kenya so that they can go and get treatment there. They can be admitted in the ICU. So basically, when I did my presentation from the beginning, I told you you just hold on 4% of COVID-19 cases that require ICU. So for example, if South Sudan has 100 cases of COVID-19, they there are 4 people who are likely going to require ICU. So it's almost every 25 people you have one person that need an ICU. And these people also, they would not come, they would not eat an ICU so that you can hire a plane, an air ambulance, and then you transfer them as once. Each an individual will come in their own time and in their own time. And then if they have a difficulty in breathing for the time that you get the permission from Kenya, and then you draft the letter, you send it, the air ambulance is being sent, you would have likely, because you don't have a lot of time that you will be wasting. ICU is an urgent and is an emergency case, so you can't wait for this bureaucracy to take place. So basically, you will need 4% of COVID-19 cases. They require ICU admission, and admission to ICU is most expensive. So, for example, if you send like 10 or 20 people to Nairobi in the ICU, so that likely the cause of these 10 people could establish an ICU in a country, you could purchase all the necessary equipment, and then you train your people and invest in aggressive testing. You would not even, you will minimize the people who will need that one. So in terms of cost, it's not cost effective. You have the other thing also, the average days COVID-19 is spent in ICU or a hospital is something around 7 to 10 days. So you have 7 to 10 days that will be spent in ICU, and it depending also on case individual. But this one is according to the study of the Chinese study. So basically, you have 7 to 10 days for every individual. Leave alone the transportation because you will be paying for the ambulance also, the air ambulance, and then a lot of things, cooperation, whatever, all those things. And if the patient died there, are you going to leave them there, or you will bring them back? So there is a lot of logistic problem that are in these decisions. So chartering of air ambulance also is very expensive. So and then you have almost 50% of the patients who are admitted to ICU, they die. So basically, also you will be investing a lot of money taking somebody there. It's not because I don't value the life of the people. I value the life of the people, but we need going to use our resources more effectively. Because at the end of the day, you could invest that money, 2 million, 3 million in Kenya, but these 3 million actually could establish a 50 bed ICU. So even you could expand the facility that you have, like the Dr. Jongarang Infectious Disease Center, you could expand it by just buying. The 3 million could be enough for you going to establish that one back home. And even if the crisis is over, you will still have, you already have 50 ICU bed. Maybe you could distribute them, maybe 60, 20, 20 somewhere in other referral hospital, and then you have the infrastructure in place. So what should the high level task force do? Because we did the analysis, we see that the the transfer or transferring people going to a neighboring country, even if we assume that the Kenya they would accept that one, is not a good idea. On there is an article that I wrote a few days ago, and I say that the high level task force, what they should do, they need going to ban the ship. And this one is a story actually, is a tale story where the people have different version of it. So basically, Dr. Jongarang, if you guys could remember, there is one of his video who was talking about the people who been attacked by a very huge army, and there were very few, so they scared, so they were running. And while they were running away from the invader, they keep sending people, they call it the reconnaissance in the army. So you send people ahead, where you want to withdraw your forces so that they inspect whether there is an enemy there or not. So these people, they keep running ahead of these people who are withdrawing, and and at the end they become tired, and they don't want to tell these people actually we are tired. So what they do, they lie to these people. They tell them, really, we are sorry, we have run and we came to the end of the wall. So there is no any way that we could run away anymore because we have reached the end of the war. So what we could do, they were asking. So there is no way that unless we fight. So basically, what they did, they they stand and they stood firm and they fought, and at the end they win. So basically, what is the meaning of this story is about when you have an options, when a soldier have an options, that there is an option for you, you may skip or you may withdraw. At any time that you face a little resistance, you would just want to run away. But if you knew there is no any way out than to fight, you would fight to end, and it's likely that you win the war. Exactly, and that what happened. That would happen. So basically, what we need, from this task force, you ban your ship. Don't think about the alternative that you would transfer people to the neighboring countries. You focus, sit down, and then face the COVID-19 aggressively with all the resources that you have in the country. So because actually this thing is a matter of death and life. So there is no reason that you should want to be conservative and you want to save some resources. Who is going to use that resources if you die? So that is not a smart idea. So what we need, they need to invest everything that they have possible on establishing those ICU within the country. and they should mobilize more medical personnel, train them. I think they would be able to fight this coronavirus and they will defeat it. But if you just keep thinking of withdrawal, then actually at any time Kenya may decide, all because the cases in Kenya also they are going up, and if they reach the threshold, who will you think that if today I have gonna the last bottle of water and there is no water, do you think I will give it to my neighbors? No, it is a matter of death and life. So basically, you don't need going to be in a situation that you keep folding your hand and wait, and at the last minute, Kenya may be forced that they have so many cases and their bed is being occupied, and therefore they cannot be able to accept any South Sudanese. And by then you haven't prepared yourself and you are depending on them. What would happen? That would be a disaster. So I think that is not a smart idea at all. And they need to review this thing. So basically what they need to do, they have to purchase more test kit. I know the WHO is limiting because this one we are getting them free, but they could go to South Korea and purchase some testing kits so that they can aggressively target everybody. Everybody who have symptom, everybody who have a suspected symptom should be tested, and if tested positive, then should be treated immediately before he or she can progress to a terminal state. They need to invest on this Dr. Jongarang infectious disease. They've been talking about 30 bed ICU, but we haven't seen this. Are they really an ICU? They have the equipment and all the necessity medical equipment that our doctors need, because they've been talking. I'm afraid that it's just only a vet. So they need to do aggressive auditing. They need to know what are the things that they have, what are the things that they don't have, so that the time right now to act is not the time that you should waste, because actually sooner or later the cases every day they are increasing, and if the cases they are increasing, so we need to act very fast. We were lucky because actually this outbreak started 4 months ago, so we have almost 4 months to prepare ourselves, and these 4 months we wasted, and now we are still wasting time. We don't have much time to waste. We need to act aggressively. So we need to expand to audit what we have there, and we see how we can be able to get more ventilators, and how we can be able to get generators so that we can operate that center 24 hours 7 with all the fuel that is needed. We need to invest on all those medical. We mobilize the private sector, all the doctors, all the medical personnel, to come, because this one, it will spare nobody. You have seen that even the head of state, Justin in Canada, caught a virus. You have Boris Johnson also struggling. So actually, it's not something well spare Salva Kiir or Riek Machar. Everybody is on this fight. So we need to fight aggressively. We need to unite and use all the resources that we have in order to win this war. So we need to forget about evacuation and transferring people is not the good thing to do. So for the reason that I've mentioned earlier, because you don't know what would happen. I know I've been in Kenya, and we should not take that situation for granted. Yeah, because actually this virus is unpredictable. What would happen? Maybe Kenya, they would have more cases than beyond their capacity. So what would you do? You have seen what happened in Italy. People were making a decision who will survive and who will not survive. And if you can't make it, there is no need for the doctors to waste time putting you on ventilator. They want to give it to somebody who can make it. And we don't want to be in that situations. So basically, this task force, they need to equip themselves also with a professional who would advise. I have not seen anybody who a public health expert in that committee. I have not seen any physicians, although we have so many chest physicians in the country. But where are they? This is their job. and it is a national duty. So we need going to mobilize everybody going to come on board. It's not the issue of showing up. So this one is the disease is serious, and we need going to fight it more aggressively. And the only way that we could be able going to fight this disease is by adapting the method, learning from other nations what they have done. So basically, to recap up, we have talked about the global issue, and we see the trend and the statistic. So we have seen different nations adopting different tactic, different strategy. We have seen the model that the South Korean they have adapted, and we have seen the model that the US has adapted, and which one is better. We have come to the conclusion that the aggressive testing is aggressive testing is the best, because the recovery rate will be high, the number of the cases will be low, and then the death toll will be too low. So that is the best thing that we could do. We don't need going to transfer people. We need going to invest in expanding the medical facility that we have, and we need going to involve the expert, and we need going to involve everybody who have any single idea going to contribute. So basically, this is conclude my presentation, and I have gonna the link I posted there. The link is there, and for those people, especially the doctors who want going to come and say something to add something, so you're highly welcome. You can go through that link that I've sent out there. Let me send it again. So please, I've seen a lot of doctor, and there is a lot of comment here. So I want you going to come on board and let us uh, share if there is anything that you want going to add to these presentations. Dr. Leo, Dr. Nyawe, I've sent you the link before. Can you just come on board? I'm waiting actually. If anybody want going to contribute, please come forward. I have already posted the. Yeah, Nyawai, check your messenger. Actually, you can go through your messengers. Peter, please, I have posted the link in my on my Facebook because actually I'm having some difficult time posting it here, and I posted it at the beginning. Dr. Peter, I've sent you the link on your messenger. Please, Peter Thomas. Okay, so just click that link. Actually, you will be able going to join. Hello? 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 Yes, hello? Hello? Yeah, Peter, can you hear me? Yes? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, yeah, yeah, go ahead. You are online, yeah. Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello, Dr. Nyawe.
دكتور فرانسيس
كيف؟
سامعني؟
أنا سامع قاعد معلش الهناية ده ما يشتغل. Yeah, so just I think we can bring you. Yes, hello, Dr. Nyawe.
Hello?
Yeah, أنا معك قاعد.
Yeah. Just can you introduce دكتور فرانسيس أنا كان عندي مشاركة بسيطة بس خصوص البرزنتيشن بتاعك سامعني كده؟
أنا سامع go ahead لكن في جوطة وراك العيال.
Okay, طيب one minute please guys can you just reduce the thank you.
Okay, you go ahead actually. I think people
Okay أنا عايزة أشكرك لأن بتاعتك كويسة.
yeah.
The presentation was excellent actually. ده الحاجة اللي احنا محتاجينه في الزمن ده بالذات عشان احنا ما بنعزل عن العالم لكن once we say this pandemic that means sooner or later it's going to be there. So the best question as you just mentioned what next. So عايزه نقطه صغيره واخلي الفرصه لباقي الناس. ان احنا نلعب على المساله بتاعت الزمن. اوكي we still have time as long as انه احنا في لسه يا دوب عندنا حكايه بتاعت 4 cases. So ممكن نلعب على العامل بتاع الزمن عشان الخطوه الاساسيه ممكن نبدا بيها الميثود to follow the aggressive method as you just mentioned. Very clear this is what we need actually في الوقت الحالي. ممكن يكون معاه سؤال مع بعض the same time انه if we're gonna apply the aggressive method do we have the enough material. اوكي ده السؤال اللي بيطرح نفسه برضه في الوقت الحالي لكن خلينا نعمل زي ما انت قاعد تقول انفست في الحاجه المهمه. الطريقه الاساسيه انه الناس تغير الفكره حول المرض ذات نفسه. اوكي باتباع الطريقه السليمه للاجراء السليم. الاجريسيف ميثود ممكن ينجح معانا يا دكتور فرانسيس عشان احنا at the same time زي ما احنا سالنا السؤال بتاع انه هل عندنا enough material هو بينجح معانا عشان القروش البسيطه او الامكانيات البسيطه يعني الموجوده لنا حتى الان نوصل الكير بالطريقه اللي ممكن في زمن بسيط ما نحصل المرحله اللي ممكن عشان مشكله كبيره. اوكي so it's all about time management في الوقت الحالي مهم جدا. aggressive methods should be applied immediately. احنا محتاجين للناس المدربه الكوادر المدربه بجد تنزل على ارض الواقع بمعنى النظريات الكثيره I said everything need data. نحن الداتا ما عندنا we don't have a good surveillance team up to now. كل الحاجات لو انت شفتها حتى الطريقه بتاعت التحديد بتاعت البيشنت طريقه عشوائيه جدا يعني دكتور فرانسيس. يعني احنا ما قاعدين نتكلم scientifically about الحاجه how to approach البيشنت او حاجه بس.
Just hold on دكتور ودود يا انا مع دكتور نياوي بجاي.
لازم بس نشتغل على التايم والميثود ده تيم يعني يكون ينفولد في الموضوع ده عشان ما يحققوا حاجات كثيره من البروتوكولات ابتداء من التريتمنت من البروتوكولات بتاعت الانتظار العلاج البروتوكولات الداتا المهمه كل الحاجات مع بعض يكونوا قاعدين الناس يعني تفتح الحاجات الناس تشتغل فيه as one group لانه الموضوع ده is not a job. Corona virus is not a job. Thank you. Let me give another chance to another one. I will follow.
Okay, thank you so much. Your contribution actually was very faithful. دكتور نياوي كان معنا من القاهرة ونحن أساسا يعني we are very sorry we didn't manage to bring her on the. Thank you so much. Your contribution actually was very. So basically, right now we have Dr. Aduchan from Nairobi, and I think there is a lot of delay in terms of the sound. So welcome, Dr. Aduchan. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you can you hear me?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
ازيك يا فرانسيس كيفك انت؟
الله أنا كويس الحمد لله زمن طويل.
ما بقول يا اخي شافك شاف خير يا اخي. مع
So
الكوفيد برضه خير ما في احسن من
ما
الكوفيد.
تصارت. Yeah, I can hear you. Mm.
اسمعني انا جيت متاخره في البرزنتيشن. بس انا ما لحقت حاجات كثيره في البرزنتيشن. انا بس سمعت الحاجات الاخيره عن الساوث السودان وعن الكوفيد وعن الاستعداد في الساوث السودان. I really don't know, but you can see what I can see what is going on. You can't really predict because there is nothing really going on in South Sudan in terms of the testing. And this is actually the most important part for us to be able to really know how many cases of COVID-19 you have it in South Sudan. So it's like if we do other measures, as like the social distancing and other measures, hand washing, all this, I don't think this is really going to help in South Sudan a lot. These measures are talking about it. The most important part, they never talk about it. We need to have like an isolation or a hospital or a small clinic, whatever we call it in South Sudan, to be a little bit equipped with oxygen and the ventilator. So let us not talk about the ventilators even because sometimes we don't need to talk about something it cannot happen right now. Let us talk about the simple and the basic thing we need to have it right now on the ground in South Sudan. We need to engage doctors, whether they are medical doctors, whether they are interns, whether they are clinical officer. If we, hello, we
Yes.
can even train them. So you can see we are still on the early stage of this disease. So if you can train those young doctors in South Sudan, we'll be able really to help, even if with the little resources that we have. But so far, it doesn't look like people are really willing to go ahead with the idea of to establish an isolation in South Sudan and then to equip that isolation with basic needs like oxygens, all the oxygen types plus a ventilator. Because if we as South Sudanese we rely on like we are going to bring doctors from outside, this thing is not going to happen. Because I think COVID-19 is something pandemic. When they say pandemic, it's everywhere in the world. So I don't think there is any country can live the qualified doctor to come and rush to South Sudan to help. So my comment on that is as doctors in diaspora, if you can address it very well, in a way can we can help our people on the ground in terms of to try at least to establish and small isolation, we at least to have an oxygen on it, and then later on we can talk about the ventilator, because for us to buy a ventilator it will take a long time for that ventilator to be brought all the way to South Sudan. Let us start with the basic and simple things in South Sudan. I think this is so far I can really add on your presentation. And thank you very much for the excellent presentation, Francis.
No, you're really welcome, and I think your advice is really noticed, and I hope that the official in South Sudan they are watching this one and they will be able to take the simple things, because sometimes we may just say, oh, we don't have this and we don't have that, but at the end of the day some of them they are there. What I know so far, actually, because when I was in South Sudan, uh, Juba Military Hospital, they have the oxygen generators. So it is not like before where you have going to carry all the cylinder to Kampala and then you bring them back home. They have. I don't know whether it's still working right now or not, but this is the thing. So basically, what we were telling them is that they have John Garang and John Garang Infectious Center. They could be able going to upgrade John Garang Infectious Disease Center and equip it with all the necessary equipment, and then they could start. While also they're investing, the ventilators are not very expensive. Actually, one could cost around 12 to 15,000 from China, and this one is a backup. But my main worry is was I wanted them going to focus on aggressive surveillance testing. So the testing is not a big thing. You could buy going to test, and then like the UN every time the all forecasts, all of them they originated from the UN. So actually, UN has going to be put every people, the local people who work at UN also they will take it into the community later on. So these are the things you need going to track those people, test them before they progress going to the situation that they would be need going for ICU.
Okay, thank you very much, Francis.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Adut. We have also Dr. Peter Thomas is online. Hello, Dr.
Yes, hello Francis, انت كويس؟
Yeah, welcome to the show.
فرانسيس انت كويس؟
أنا كويس الحمد لله. طبعا Dr. Peter Thomas Awang is a general surgeon who based in Botswana.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the presentation is very excellent, and I think you are contributing positively towards addressing this pandemic. وإحنا الناس البعيدين ديل, there is nothing much that we can do apart from sharing the available literature regarding this pandemic. زي ما الناس الأول اتكلموا وانت ذات اتكلمت, I mean, South Sudan will be facing lots of challenges because, I mean, all the measures that needs to be put in place to handle this pandemic is very difficult to implement in South Sudan. I mean, social distancing may not work. Okay, hand washing, even the techniques of doing. Okay, I mean, becomes a challenge. Okay, testing, we don't have enough kits. Unfortunately, when people also become symptomatic and they need to go to the hospital, we know the challenges on the ground, and it will be catastrophic if somebody needs to be admitted to ICU. Okay, because we know, I mean, we don't have a functional ICU. I mean, because ICU is not about the room, it's not about the ventilators that you have. It's about the personnel and lots of logistics that needs to be put in place. The most important thing is pandemic that has caused a lot of panicking because people, especially the lay people, I mean, thinking انه كل زول كان جاو COVID 19. It's a death certificate, but I have been a little bit optimistic, Francis, that this pandemic has created all this panicking, lots of chaos around the world, okay, because of the way, okay, the information circulated, okay, around the globe. أنا عندي سؤال بسيط ده أسألك من the figures that you have mentioned, huh?
Yep.
Francis, are you
Yeah.
are you
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have shown us, I mean, the data from US and the data from South Korea regarding the recoveries and mortalities. How did you calculate those percentages? Are they based on the total confirmed infected, okay, patients with COVID-19? Because I mean, it looks like, I mean, the percentages of the mortalities that you are quoting there are extremely quite high. If I'm not wrong. So please just take us through that figure. If you take South Africa for example, I mean, currently we got, okay, I'm in Botswana. We have a few cases so far. We got like 13, okay, with one mortality. But lucky enough, I mean, Botswana is the last country in the region, okay, to confirm the disease. And also the population in Botswana is very small, that's 2 million. But if you take South Africa with a population of almost 55 million, I mean, so far they got 2,000, okay, confirmed cases, and they got two 20, close to 20 people who died, okay, and that is almost less than 1% of mortality. If you take the global, okay, confirmed cases so far, I mean, when the thing started in China and it went to Italy, okay, I mean, the highest recorded mortality was like ranging between 2 to 5%. Okay, and I think the US also figures at this stage also are 5% of the total confirmed cases. But I see all of you talking about 38 higher figures. I don't know if these are the most updated, okay, figures. And please just take us through your statistics and tell us, because I mean, these figures are quite alarming, and people really
In fact, actually, it's
concerned.
not, they don't call it mortality rate because actually you still have, cases that you don't know what would be their outcome. So basically what they do, they have all the cases in general, and then they come and there is a closed cases. The closed cases, this is why they come and calculate this is why they calculate something they call it death rate. It's not a mortality rate because actually you exclude the cases that are still, you don't know what is their fate. But anybody that you have discharged, for example, the number of people that you have discharged and the number that you have, the number of people who died, this they call them closed cases. And these closed cases, they calculate the death rate from it. So it's not a mortality rate, by the way, it's a death rate. So basically, you would see from that one. So how many people that you have closed the case, the people that you discharge plus the people who die, and then you calculate the percentage out of that one. That is what they call it a death rate, and it's not a mortality rate because the mortality rate you need to those people who die and then those people who and the all cases. So the all cases, even the cases that we still pending right now, there is likely some people who will recover from it, some people will die. So it's very difficult for you right now to calculate the mortality rate. So they call it death rate. That's why
Okay, so
yeah,
yeah, so that is very important point to highlight, because now you are calculating your death rate, okay, based on the closed, okay, cases, okay, and that's
close
why
cases,
that's
yeah.
why your
That's why you that's why
see
it
your
is
percentage
high.
looks quite high. But So when we are passing the message also to, to ourselves and also to the public, you need to make sure that they understand that, because now somebody may just think, okay, that you have calculated, okay, that death rate depending on the total number of people who were infected, okay, because the assumption is always like this: most, up to 70%, if I'm not wrong, of people who will get, okay, COVID-19, most of them will remain asymptomatic. Okay, 30% will need will become symptomatic. They will go to hospital. Okay, so some of them will go to ICU. If you go to ICU and you don't need ventilation, your chance of survival is 80%. If you need to be ventilated, okay, your chance of survival goes. Yeah, thank you. This is what I just wanted to clarify and contribute with. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I hope that we will meet in a very good time. So basically,
Inshallah.
that was a very important point, because actually the WHO, the mortality rate that they reported was something around 3.4, but right now the new calculation actually is ranging around 2 and something. So 2. And even the death rate also, we have gone through the presentation about the age disparities. So there is a lot of still calculation are coming up. And this number actually they could change, because from the beginning I mentioned in my presentation that this number actually is based on the data of yesterday. So today, even if we check the same website for today, you would get something that is different, because the numbers are changing very fast. So thank you so much, and stay safe with your family.
You too. Keep well. Huh?
Yes, okay. So Dr. Nyawe, I think Dr. Nyawe was here, so I would like you to come forward. Hello, Dr. Nyawe. I'm waiting, Dr. Nyawe. Hello. Hello. Hello.
I don't know if I'm off again.
Yeah, you're on. You're welcome.
فرانسيس سلامات.
عليكم السلام والرحمة.
مبسوطة خالص بالمبادرة بتاعتك دي، ومبسوطة بكل الدكاترة شاركوا قبالك. It was a very, very good presentation. Okay. أنا ما أعرف قبل أنت سمعتني لما أنا اتكلمت ولا الخط فصل؟
والله يا أخي في جوطة شديد أنا سمعتك، لكن for الفيو actually you can do it again actually.
Okay خلاص. عشان الكلام ما يكون إعادة وتكرار لشيء أصلا already have been mentioned with you or the other colleague. Okay. Let us start like this. البانديميك اللي احنا فيه ده هسه اوكي زيه زي اي كارثة حصلت قبل كده. It's not a joke, it's a serious one, especially لما احنا نيجي نتعامل مع مع وضع زي وضع حقنا احنا في جنوب السودان. regardless انه ما عندنا اي خدمات صحية متوفرة، ما عندنا اي بيئة، او ما عندنا it's okay او ما عندنا جاهزية. الكلام قبل بتاع انه احنا we still have a time عشان احنا نقوم نتخذ خطوات اساسية، لكن قبل اي حاجة awareness is our first line of يعني للمواجهة بتاعت الكورونا. احنا الاويرنس ثم الاويرنس والاويرنس ده خط الدفاع الاول اللي احنا ممكن نعمله هسه. بعد كده to train. احنا ما نجي نقول انه to train الدكتورز، احنا المفروض نعرف الوضع الموجود عندنا ده اذا كان للميديكال بيرسونيل اوكي او بالنسبه للكوميونتي بتاعنا، ده من خلال الاويرنس اللي قلناه. And then the best option, as you just mentioned through your presentation, I think will be to apply the aggressive method immediately. وده ما بيكون بس بالكلام، لكن just even to عشان يعني الماتيريال البسيطة اللي عندنا يعني احنا نقدر نستخدمه اوكي in terms بدل ما نضيعه. يا هو زي ما انت منشنت انه نرحل وننقل، يعني انا متأكدة عندنا دكاترة موجودين كويسين، لكن they need to اوكي الناس تضع البايوريتيز according للسيتويشن الموجودة، ابتداء من التدريب والتأهيل، الايزوليشنز، ابلاي البروتوكولات الموجوده دي احنا ناخدها بالنسبه للناس لناسنا نحن ونوريهم الحاصل شنو. دكتور فرانسيس، المشكله الاساسيه اللي ممكن تواجهنا هسه في الجنوب انه نحن قاعدين نتعامل مع كوميتي ما عارف انه يتعامل مع حاجه بالطريقه الكويسه. الكلام ده ظاهر من كله الورق بتاعهم، وظاهر من خلال البرزنتيشنز اللي هم قاعدين يعملوا. So the best way هيبقى علي أنا وهيبقى عليك أنت، هيبقى على أي زول عرف وما قدر يوصل المعلومة بطريقة صحيحة. هيبقى علي أنا وهيبقى عليك أنت اللي إحنا قاعدين وما قادرين نقدم المعلومة بطريقة صح. أنا بحسدك إنك أنت اتخذت خطوة كويس وبدأت بالتعريف لنا نحن ووريتنا المعلومة بطريقة كويس. ده ممكن يعمل الفرق بالشكل بسيط، لكن احنا we are looking to make this different في للكوميونتي بتاعنا. فالكلام ده لو ما وصل للناس اللي هم عندهم أصحاب القرار عشان ما يقوموا يتخذوا خطوات كويسة، هيبقى بس ان احنا قاعدين نتكلم من أجل الكلام. توصيل الحاجة ده بيبقى إنه احنا نضغط على الناس اللي من خلاله احنا بنقدر نوصل الكلام اللي ممكن تعمل فرق أو ممكن يحدث تغيير في الوقت أو في المرحلة الجاية اللي صعب جدا إحنا فيه.
والله I think ده فكرة جميلة جدا يعني بالنسبة ل contribution كويس. نحن طبعا we lack the direct channel بتاع communication مع وزارة الصحة، و this is one of another important بالنسبة للتاسك فورس. they need لازم يكون عندهم channel that they could communicate مع كل الناس اللي هي موجودة برا، even people who يعني ممكن ما يكون underground but they have something suggestion.
Exactly.
فالمفروض يكون في channel بتاع suggestion عشان يكون الكوميونيكيشن very effective. لأن في ناس قاعدين في دول أخرى والدول الأخرى ده ممكن تكون عندها، فالتعامل والتجاهل هو السبب ان احنا موجودين هسه فوق في US. we are in a big crisis لأن أساسا الحكومة بتاع US the way they handled the outbreak from the beginning was not the appropriate way to treat it. And even the American هسه هم they are very disappointed. They look like a third world country. That's what they say يعني. ده قاعد يرجع لأنه أساسا الإدارة ما تقبل أي idea from expert وكده وقافل راسه. So we don't want to have the same thing. We had enough crisis في جنوب السودان and we don't want any other crisis مثلا to come on top of this. So basically if you have low phasal into directional, so most of the time يعني حتى البرزنتيشن بتاع الهيلث كير سيستم اللي عملته الدور اللي فات برضه موجود، قاعد يكون موجود في الويب سايت and I will post the presentation ده I will post it for doctors associations and the people should look at it. If they have anything that they want to have also they could be able to add it.
ده سيم السؤال ده برضه مفروض يسأل بالنسبة للكوميتي الموجود. ليه الناس مهمومة إنه مثلا you have دكتور عدود هي كان بتتكلم قبل شوية من نيروبي، you have دكتور بيتر توماس from Botswana and you yourself from America. أنا موجودة من القاهرة. ليه نحن مهمومين إنه نحن نتكلم about the awareness؟ ليه نحن مهمومين إنه يكون في suggestions وفي aggressive method to be applied immediately في South Sudan. It's all about إحنا عارفين إنه we don't have الإمكانيات إنه when things come to the worst. يعني إحنا يعني ما إحنا عارفين كله pandemic لما نيجي أوكي زي الموجة دي، يا إما أنت لو اتبعت الخطوات الاستباقية that was اللي هو بالزمن أن إحنا ممكن يعني بنخلق فرق كبير جدا اوكي لحد هسه ما في خطوات كده عند جراوند احنا شايفينه هم مشوا فيه ولا هم عملوه. احنا عندنا ايطاليا، عندك امريكا، ايطاليا عندها تاني اقوى نظام صحي في العالم كله بعد كوبا، لم يعني ما يخن الظن، لكن ويستيل شفنا نتيجه بتاعت انه الناس ما اخذت ما لعبوا على التايم فاكتورز حقهم بالطريقه الصح. احنا شفنا الحصل ده سيم حصل مع يو اس. طيب اذا كان احنا بنتكلم عن دول عندها نظام صحي قوي جدا وده اللي حصل، احنا بالنسبه لنا حيكون شنو الحل؟ كون انه هو حيخش ما خش this is not the case. يعني احنا what will be the next what is the next step؟ يعني احنا ممكن نمشي فوقه بدل ما الناس يعني تضيع زمانها في انه نلوم بعض او يعني ما ندي مقترحات الكويسه. انا واحده من الناس اللي بشوف هسه الشانل بتاعك ده they need to يعني ياخدوا الادفانتج بتاعه as long as انه a lot of يعني experience بيطلع منه and most of your viewers or الcontributor بتاعك they're expert يعني.
Yeah, exactly. ده المفترض يحصل. المشكله طبعا احنا شفنا انه الجنوبيين كلهم صبوا غضبهم في UN. يعني انه UN جاب الاوت بريك في جنوب السودان وكده. And this one is not true actually because we live you are good we live in a world يعني in a where the world is become a small village. يعني انت you can't live in isolation with مع باقي الناس التانيين. So it was sooner or later كان هيجي لو كان زول بتاع UN ولا كان جنوب السودان or whatever and all those things. And this is not what we supposed going to focus in right now. What we need going to focus is going to fight this pandemic. So the UN, they are our partners. They contributed a lot and they stand with us all these years. يعني مثلا حتى شوف الاي دي بيز اللي هم قاعدين في جنوب السودان برضه يعني who is hosting them as well as hosting them they are always شنو that is the same UN. So actually we should not waste our time in this nonsense بتاعين as UN هم يجابوا الانفكشن للبلد and we just need going to be يعني نحن محتاجين انه نقوم we focus our all attention in how we can prepare ourselves and how we can be able to test everybody.
السؤال الصح هل نحن هسه عندنا كم دكتور that have been trained عشان ما يواجهوا الكارثة دي في البلاد؟ شكل الايزوليشن هوسبيتال هل هي بالطريقة المفروضة تحضر؟ هل الدكاترة كلهم الموجودين on the ground have been involved عشان ما يواجهوا الكارثة دي؟ هل حجم الحاجات اللي عندنا المتاحة شنو، الماتيريال المتاحة شنو، وهم what will be the next step إذا كانوا هم يعني دايرين شنو من الدكاترة الموجودين هناك أو الدكاترة الموجودين برا البلد.
ده طبعا سؤال صعب. لو كان في ناس من وزارة الصحة they would be able to answer that question right because I'm very far.
هيسمعوا.
Yeah, whom هيسمعوا whom they need. Lakin I was really surprised, we have so many chest physicians in the country, but they are not a part of this delegation. We need also people going to work on a guideline. So how are you going to manage this this COVID-19? The doctors underground there, they need to know what is the guideline that they will be approached. And the guideline is not just only, and we copy whatever is being adopted. There is some of the things that are impractical. Had to self, and Dr. Thomas talked about it before. مثلا يعني لما نقول لك isolate yourself in the house, and we have our household. Sometimes we have 2 bedrooms and more than 20 people who are living in the same house. It's become very difficult. So we need also to try to streamline and create a version that suit our own, that can suit our own reality. And there is things actually that are very difficult. So in your way, let me go to Adut and Dr. Thomas is already here.
Nice to see you, my dear.
Thomas is already here, also back. Adut? Adut?
Is she online?
Yes, she's online.
Okay. خلينا نرجع لل تحياتي دكتور فرانسيس. شكرا تاني، شكرا تاني. انت احتمال مستغرب ليه بنقول شكرا، لانه مبادرة قوية جدا وده ماشي جديد عليك. anyway thank you. thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much and be safe.
Yeah, you too, you too dear. thank you.
Aduchan. Hello? Hello? Adut? Are you there? Peter Thomas.
Yes, Francis.
Yeah, you can you can join actually, Adut. I think she can hear me.
Yeah, معلش I'm back again. Yeah, it's a very exciting topic to talk about, especially لما نكون حاجة بخص البلد اللي احنا مشتاقين له كتير. And I'm very sorry that I cannot put my video on for some
Okay, okay.
reason. But I just want to say, أول حاجة, your contribution is something great. لكن أنا برضو بلومك إنه البتاع ده is not well advertised. I just got to get a notification shortly after you started. So preferably, if we have to carry on with these sessions, you better uh, uh, make some form of publicity. There is nothing wrong with that because it is part of your national contribution, actually. And I think the rest of the audience also can do the same. Getting into contact with the Minister of Health, it's not a must, okay, for somebody to go there physically and talk to them, because I mean, I think Dr. Makur also is on social media. I mean, there should be a way of him being approached, okay, and bringing his attention to this forum, so that if need be, he can also contribute. But also the influence that we want to make at the end of the day, irrespective of our opinion, is just to try to change the mindset at high level task force, okay, because they need to co-opt at least a technical subcommittee, okay, derived mainly from clinicians, okay. uh, yeah, that is it. آخر حاجة درس أسألك, so with the US figures, I have been watching the daily briefing to US task force, okay, and I mean, when there was a lot of panicking, we know currently at least 1/3 of the global confirmed cases actually are almost in US.
Yeah.
Okay, and the experts in the US were saying we should be ready to see up to 100,000 to 200,000 people dying from this pandemic in US alone, and they were doing that based on certain models. Okay, I didn't have
Yeah.
time, okay, to see how they come up with the models. So if we have to ask you, because maybe you have already studied the literature very well. So given the population of South Sudan, let's assume, so if this pandemic becomes more serious, okay, how many people are we expecting to get infected? Okay, if we put okay, those measures in place, if we are lucky enough, and how many people are we expecting to die, for example, if this pandemic becomes also more serious and more aggressive in South Sudan?
That is a very difficult question actually, because I've seen the model that they developed. So it was developed by Washington University, and these are the people who developed the model for US, for Europe, for UK, and they try going to predict. Although the model is a very good thing actually, because they keep the government very active in terms of trying to bring the curve down. So basically, it depends on keeping those prescription guidelines like social distancing and then stay at home and lockdown and so forth. So basically, I don't know how South Sudan model would look like, but there is a study from London University, I think, who try going to predict. So South Sudan was on top of that one. So they put some kind of like 40 point, and we had gonna the high mark 35%. So basically South Sudan is a high risk country. And if we can guess, we can make a good guess. For example, like we have gone to the global, from the global epidemiology, we see that 4% of the cases they need ICU. So we could assume anybody who need an ICU and who need ventilator in South Sudan will not make it, unfortunately, if there is no any quick plan, to to acquire all those facilities and try to upgrade the current thing that we have. So basically, we could assume that 44% of South Sudanese who may need uh, ICU, they would die actually because we don't have ICU facility in the country. And then it may increase. So it's very hard unless we try and look on how they've come up with that model, and we try to get into some experts so that they can make a model for South Sudan. That is very hard question to answer.
Yeah. So Malish, Francis, but I think we will give you that assignment also, if possible. Just try to see how people back home can be guided in terms of how to come up with such a model to calculate the number of people that we think could potentially be infected, and also to see the worst case scenario total deaths that can happen, okay, during this pandemic, because this is very important. لأنه الانترventions من country لcountry بيختلف.
Yeah.
Okay, so we in Botswana, we are actually under lockdown. Okay, almost for a week now. Okay, and it's meant to go further for another 3 weeks, because the total lockdown, South Africa did a 3 week lockdown. Okay, we did a 4 week lockdown. Okay, but to the extent that also the state, I mean, Al declared a state of emergency for 6 months. Okay, because this is the assumption. Okay, I mean, of the experts. Okay, I mean, given the Wuhan experience. And when it comes to what needs to be done apart from other things that we talked about, so if you have to come down to shut down, lock down, it has a lot of socio-economic implications. Okay, so عندنا حسي هنا it's you have to walk. If you have to get out of your house, you need to get a permit. Okay, they call it COVID 19 permit. Okay, and you have to move out of your house only when you are seeking essential services. They have listed everything. Or if you are one of the people that were categorized, okay, as one of the providers for these essential services. If you get caught on the street without the permit, okay, you are liable to a fine, okay, which is almost like 10,000 US dollar, okay, or ممكن يدخلوك سجن up to 5 years. Okay, and this comes with lots of implications. But they have justified it because they said no, this COVID-19, from the way we see it, it's now a national security threat, because if it comes to Botswana, okay, and I mean lots of people get it, okay, we will die. Okay, they have also created what they call COVID-19 relief fund. Okay, government has put also 2 billion puller, which is like 200 million US dollar. Okay, and they are seeking more. Okay, from private sector and other okay potential okay stakeholders, and they have put into measures. I mean, what needs to be done, okay, for the economy to recover. Sorry, for the economy to survive, okay, and at the same time to recover, okay, post COVID, okay, 19. But for them to, I mean, to reach, I mean, this decision was very aggressive. Okay, I mean, they had to look at the figures. Okay, I mean, the scientific okay figures. Okay, and looking at the worst case scenario. So for our task force back home to make also such political tough okay decisions, okay, given the difficulty that we are going through, okay, we need to justify also how many South Sudanese are expected to die, okay, from this okay virus, okay, in the worst case scenario, so that we can just say, you know what, yeah, what we need to do is justifiable.
Yeah, I think this is a very important point, by the way. This, but because when you work with model, at least you could be able to know how what would you need and how many bed that you would need for admission, and what are so resources that you are lacking and you are not lacking. But you, when you work without model, you look like you are blindly and at any time you could be overwhelmed. You may have a limited, maybe hospital bed for admissions, and then you have going to siege of case that you cannot be able going to handle. So the model is very important because
Mm.
it and model and then is being related also. You need to know some information down there of how many hospital bed that you have, so that actually, and this is what they do when they target that one, so that they don't want the health facility to be overwhelmed by this surge of cases. And that's why they talk about bending the curve down so that they give time for people to recover, and then at the same time they try to lift up, increase the capacity of the healthcare. They employ more, they get more hospital, maybe remote hospital, establish more remote hospital. Maybe they hire more medical personnel, because some of them also they may run out of service, especially if they caught the infection. So these are the things that would help you, but without having model, without having all those information. Like for example, the task force was talking about 4 ventilators, and they don't know where are they located even. So this one is need a lot of information. Without information, you could not be able to plan. So basically, what I would do, I will try to look at the models and see if it is something that is easy. We could be able to predict the model, but we may need some information from back home there. How many hospital that you have, how many bed that you have, whatever, almost. They need a lot of
Yeah.
questions.
No, that will be good. Yeah, because I mean, here locally, in Botswana, for example, for them to justify the intervention that they have done, they said, you know what, in the worst case scenario, okay, we may need up to 5,000 ICU beds. Okay,
Yeah.
remember this is just 2 million population. Okay, and they said we don't have the capacity, okay, for 5,000 ICU beds because nationwide we have 150 ICU beds, both in public and private. Okay, and they said, so if this is the capacity that we have, okay, if we leave this thing, it goes like this, it's going to be disaster. And that's why they had to intervene. Francis, I'm very sorry that I'm
No,
taking a lot of time,
no,
but
is
I'm just
okay.
going to advise you lastly that you need before you close this session, you need to tell us what's the way forward, okay, and how can we really contribute, and how can we make influence, okay, on the people on the ground. I mean, it's not a matter of making it politics, but it's just about just giving a constructive feedback to people on the ground, okay, feeding them with information, okay, feeding them with our experiences and the information that we have from various locations that we are staying at currently, and how they can really incorporate all these into our local context. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, and have a good night. I don't know what is the time there. Is it at is a night? Yeah.
This تسعة إلا عندنا
Okay.
بال
So thank you so much. It was a good contribution from Dr. Peter Thomas, and I think also from the experience of Botswana, we could be able to learn a lot of things. Imagine Botswana have 150 beds and is a population of 2 million. Yeah, so we are almost
yeah.
time of Botswana, so we should have something like around 900 bed actually. It, yeah, something like that. Yeah, no,
Mm-hmm.
15 times 6, so something around that one. We should have 900 bed ICU, and that one the CO open is not enough for Botswana. So imagine a country who have no ICU. So we have a long way to go, but we should not give up, because we still have time actually. So the outbreak came late, to South Sudan. Maybe it was meant for some reason, so that it can give us more room for us, to think and then to plan. So basically, my presentation today, it was about comparison of two approaches that is being used by South Korea and United States of America, and we have gone through the statistic, and we see that the method that, or the approach that was used by South Korea, was more effective in terms of the high rate of recovery, over 97%. And then we have going to test toll rate is not the mortality rate, something around 2.8%. while the method that is being adopted, which is the conservative method, where you just target the people who are at risk of dying from COVID-19, people who have underlying medical conditions like diabetes, cardiovascular disease, lung disease, and immunocompromised patients like those of cancers, and leave those mild and moderate cases without being tested. So we have seen the outcome. And therefore, for South Sudan, we could be able to benefit from the experience of these countries, and we adopt the best method. So we see from our presentation, the best method is for us going to invest all the resources that we have back home, and we have also evaluated the approach by the high committee that the transfer of patient to the neighboring country is not a feasible thing, and it's not cost effective, and it's not the best option for us. So the best option is for us going to invest all our resources, expand the healthcare that we have, and we develop a model so that we can be able to fight this disease together. With this, thank you so much, Via, and we hope to see you maybe in the next presentation. Thank you so much, and have a good night, and God bless South Sudan.